This sofa is hiding a secret. Well, two secrets to be exact. The wall behind me is holy. No, not holy like a saint. Holy as in there's big holes in it. Let me show you. One, two. But why? This is something called a toggle spring. And these are excellent to hold stuff onto the walls. And I used to have some shoe storage right here before I moved it out. And guess what? The only disadvantage of this is that you have to make quite a big hole. They hold very well, but you do have to make quite a big hole because obviously the actual toggle spring needs to be able to fit through here to be able to grab the wall from behind and hold whatever is it that you're holding very tight. Ever since I made this, I was super worried about it because I didn't know what I was going to do with the hole. By the time I figured, alright, fine, I'm probably never gonna move some of this furniture, so it's not a problem. But guess what? I did move this shoe storage and it was about a year ago now. So I had these holes hidden behind the sofa. And a couple of weeks ago, I saw a video on YouTube. It was from an excellent channel called Proper DIY, which basically explained how you can approach fixing this type of holes. And I was so impressed with the idea that today I'm going to attempt to use the exact same idea to fix my own holes. And here's everything we're going to need. We're going to need a filling knife, obviously, to fill the holes. We are going to need some wall filler. And here's the kicker. We are going to need some poop bags or any kind of small bags you can find, and some baking paper. What? So the biggest problem with this type of hole is that there's nothing to push against because the wall is hollow, right? So if I try to fill it up with filler, it's all going to fall down on the other side. So you need something to stop that filler falling on the other side. And that something is going to be a poop bag and our baking paper. And this is why I found the idea on that other channel so excellent, because I've never seen this done before. And I would like to try it. Now, I've got a bit of paper right here, which I think it's too much actually. So I'm not gonna be able to push this much through. I think I'll probably need only half of that. So let me cut that in half. Now I'm gonna put it in the poopy bag, and the reason I put it in the bag is so the paper doesn't absorb any of the filler and make it crack. So this is more or less how it's gonna be. I'm gonna push this through. The stuff is like I have too much of this, so I'm gonna cut it some more and then... Okay, that is something. I still think there's too much. You push that in very, very nicely. And I think that is excellent. Let me show you very closely. Don't know if you are able to tell because obviously the bag itself is quite black, but there's a bag in here, so we should have something to push the filler against. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Now let's go and mix a little bit of filler. I don't usually like ready-made filler. The workability is a little bit different. I don't know how to explain it, but I prefer to mix my filler on my own. So let's do that now. It's only gonna take about a couple of minutes and then we'll come back and fill these holes. Okay, filler done. Now it's time to put it in. I've lost my smaller filling knife, so this one is not going to be the most comfortable thing in the world. but I should still be able to do that. Oh, and that works. Look at that. That's great. We're never gonna be able to do this in one go, right? Because this hole is just too big. So I'm gonna try and do my best on this first pass, and then we're gonna come back and do it again in a few hours. That's hole one done. Another trick I learned from proper DIY is when you fill the holes, you need to smooth it out from the middle. So you go from the middle and down, and then from the middle and up. And the reason you do that is because if you go all the way up and down, you're probably going to disturb the filler on the edges of the hole. You're going to pull it down a little bit, which is something you don't want because it's just going to make your life harder. So middle up and then middle down. Look, there's nothing on the edges of this hole that looks out of place basically, and this is what we want. Now, as I said, this is still gonna, so the wall is gonna pull the filler in, so I think we're gonna have to do another pass. I don't think this is done at all, but in order to do that we'll need to wait a few hours. Okay, a few hours have passed and this worked beautifully. Look at this. This is one of the holes, left hand side, the other one in here. Look, it didn't all go in. I think what I need to do is use the sandpaper to sand it a little bit. So you can see there's little cracks as well on the edges. So I want to sand it, make it smooth, and then fill it up one more time to then make the surface completely even. And I think that should be that. It might require a third time. I don't know, we'll see. Let's do it. Right, that didn't need much sanding at all, just a little bit. And I think now, clear the dust. Now it's time to fill them for the second time. I'm gonna let that dry and then we'll see if we need to do another one. A few hours have passed, actually a couple of days, but look, these holes are dry. You can't even probably see them on camera because they turned out so good. I think all they need is just a little bit of very light sanding. So let's do that now and then I'll show you up close how well they've turned out. So let's do 220 sandpaper. Yeah, I think that's perfect. So I won't be painting this because later next year I'm going to be doing a project in the living room. So I think this is all gonna be painted anyway. So I don't need to do that now. I just didn't want to have holes. And speaking of holes, there isn't any more. So let me show you up close. Now you can see that a little bit better. But if I'm holding my knife right here, look, there's no gaps whatsoever. That's perfect. And the other one, look, this is the hole. You can barely see it. Holding my knife right here, look, no gap whatsoever. That's perfect. And big kudos to Proper DIY because that video was excellent. I'm going to link it in the description below so you guys can see various tricks on how to deal with smaller holes, bigger holes, holes like this. There's also all sorts of holes in that video, but yeah, it's a great video and I think it really works and I'll just show you that today. In the next one, I'm starting a much bigger project, so stay tuned for that. But Thank you so much for watching today. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.